So hey there, friends. Steve Taylor here. I'm really excited to join you today for another, episode of not really an episode, but just really a different, idea here, a video. As I create these YouTube channels and podcasts, right? I did it because I really was interested and started following them myself and listening to people in my industry or outside the industry. And I really started to get interested in it, to have these these real conversations with real people in your business, doing it the real way. And recently I came across a podcast, and there was a guest that I just I just love the way he was talking. I love what he was talking about. It was very real, and we both had a very similar path. So this discussion is really out there for those in the business, and those that are considering kind of what we've done, and we'll talk about that and going through it, to really try to give you kind of an in-depth, like, hey man, this is what it was. We're not trying to sell you. We're trying to just tell you this is what we were concerned about. This is how it really worked out, and stuff like that. And hopefully you find some snippets in here. So Kevin, please tell us a little bit about yourself, your brief background, and we'll hop into it.
Well, first and foremost, I want to say I see that Florida Gators helmet behind you right there, my friend. I am so sorry about this weekend, last weekend. That's a terrible, terrible start to the season.
The year's not over, man. It's been rough, but I'm still optimistic that Napier's going to turn it around.
No worries, man. Yeah, but brief little summary of me. Like, hey, I'm founder of Non-I Capital RIA here in Texas. But before I got here, as you can see, the jerseys on the back there, I played with the Yankees and the Oakland A's for a few years in 06 and 07. I was with the Pirates in 08 in their AAA system, trying to get back to the big leagues. And unfortunately, I tore a tendon in my wrist. But fortunately or unfortunately at the time, I was getting really involved in finance because I was making some money and I wanted to know what was going on with my money. And then I became a CNBC, quote unquote, like heretic, right? Like I was like, hey, I got to watch this stuff. I need to know what's going on. But the story of that is that when I was watching CNBC one day, the guy who was managing our money, which was Mr. Sir Alan Stanford Group Company, he was running a Ponzi scheme. He was coming out in handcuffs. And I was like, what in the, HE double hockey sticks just happened? And then boom, I found out that he was running a Ponzi scheme. 6 months later, 9 months later, I get some of my money back. I said never again. Got my degree at University of Texas Arlington here while I was rehabbing to get my to get back in the game, and then never really went back to the game. Just fell in love with what I was doing. And you and I both know the inroads of this business. We typically started some kind of broker dealer, maybe some insurance office, started in one of those little offices there. Not going to name any names, but started in one of those places, grinded for a few years, and then, got my CFP a few years ago and never looked back, my friend. Open my RIA. And this is what this discussion is about today, is those pitfalls, what you're fearing. Don't fear the unknown and all the things that you may run into. And I'm happy to be independent, happy to be a person that can know exactly where I'm going and be the person I want to become. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
That's what it's all about, right? In this business, it's all about trust. It was interesting when I was still practicing law. I sat down with somebody that was with Madoff, right? And I saw those statements, and it was a freaking joke, right? And so there's all these different people out there, and the news, news authorities telling you all these things to be fearful of and why you shouldn't do it and everything. But we're gonna have this conversation, like here you and we are small RIAs, right? Mm-hmm. We're one or two people, whatever it might be. We might be a little bit bigger than that. There's a lot of conversations in this business. We're all just listening. Like I said, I'm a big podcaster. Kitsis, I love Kitsis. He always gives us a lot of information that all these big companies are trying to say, hey, listen, you need to join us. You need to scale or you're going to die, right? You're going to go away. But it's beautiful because the more they say that, the better our business becomes, right? Because the fewer other options that are out there, and all these people that join them, they're starting to look like all these different places, like everybody else. And we're offering something truly different, right? So we'll kind of start there, right? If you feel that you're really offering something different, it's really about that meaningful connection, right? That I heard, it's a great quote I heard. You want to make deep, meaningful connections with a few people, right? Whatever few means to you, a couple hundred, whatever it might be, right? This is the business. This is the route to go for you, rather than those different large companies, right? So that's what we're trying to be. We're trying to be unique. We're trying to be different, right? Well, we'll sit here on Fridays or whatever it might be with our t-shirts on and stuff like that, but we're offering something different.
Yeah, offering something different, because what people have to be concerned about is just becoming like everyone else, just becoming like the big wirehouses, just becoming like everything else. And they will use scare tactics. Not saying that they're doing that, but like, for example, you and I, before we went to become an RIA, our compliance team would always say, well, there's stuff you just don't know. A lot of these RIAs are going to be going under in the next 5 to 7 years because the SEC is going to come down on them. Oh, they're selling these private placements. Oh, they're doing all these bad things. Well, there's some of them doing that, but there's some of the people doing that in your business, and you guys are getting caught up in the hoopla as well. So one thing, when this is start here, I think it'd be a good way to start.
Yeah,
is like not being afraid because people are telling you that things are coming. Like, for example, before I would always talk to my compliance officer. I said, man, there's these guys doing all this great things on all these channels. They have all this access, and he would always say, well, yeah, they can do that, but they're just wait, watch, you'll see. They don't have the compliance teams and all the other stuff. They don't understand all of that stuff. I mean, Steve, what say you with that, my friend? Because you've been through the ringer. From a compliance standpoint, were they using that as a hindrance from you to take the step to move on to the next phase of your life?
You know, it was interesting when they would come. The biggest thing that would affect me as my practice grew, right? As I said, they're taking a haircut.
Yeah.
Right. Their haircut, and they're charging me fees. And I'm saying, what are you guys providing for that? Like, what are you doing for me? Oh, well, we feel we bring a lot of value and all the stuff. And they would talk a lot about, compliance. Because here's the thing. Here's what people got to understand, right? This is why compliance is so effing challenging at a broker dealer, right?
Yes.
When I was at my previous broker dealer, right? When I would go to their conferences, it was really unique, right? I thought it was cool at the time, but now I look back, they said, we support 300 different business models, right? A bunch of people doing a whole bunch of different stuff.
Yeah.
So when you have everybody doing all that different stuff, you have a compliance manual and you have the rules and regulations that is literally, man, it's like 400 pages long, because it has to be.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're doing all that stuff. And so then they give you the impression that if you go out and do it on your own, that you got to create this monster of a compliance manual, right? So what have you and I learned? No, you don't.
No, you don't.
If you don't do 300 of the 350 things out there, then you don't have to address it. You don't have an issue, right? So that's where they kind of keep you scared, right? It's going to be overwhelming. It's going to be all the compliance of it, but it's really not. So understanding that, right? I'm a little different, Kevin, as I told you, I'm the attorney. I view compliance differently. I view risk differently, right? I started to realize as I was doing my compliance manual and everything, like, I got a template, right? Everyone gets a template compliance manual. And I sound like, man, 80% of this stuff I don't need. So I started eliminating to where it only focuses on that stuff that I do. And it's like 20 pages long.
Yeah.
Right. And it makes, and it's good business sense, right? Because you can't be all things to all people. Listen, if you just want to write a bunch of product, all kinds of product and the most fashionable product, stay at your broker dealer, man, because compliance will overwhelm you if you don't do it. But I got targeted. I got focused. My compliance got easy when I limited the stuff that I did. I mean, what was your experience? How did you do that? How did you address that when you first came over?
Well, I found that traditional models manage to the least common denominator, right? They say, okay, you can't do anything. You can't say anything because we're getting rid of everything until we can kind of pick and choose who can do what. And you know how it is. They pick and choose who can do what based on what? Production, right? If you produce, hey, you can go do video channels. You can do YouTube. You can do whatever it is. But if you're not producing, you can't do anything. And you know how that works, right? So we have to start thinking that. I wanted to get rid of that because my production was okay. I was in the mid tier there, but I wasn't like $1 million or $2 or $3 million producer that he'll get a slap on the wrist because he goes on a news station without compliance knowing about it. Like, if I did that, I'm fired. You know what I mean? But if one of their top producers does it, okay, well, hey, next time, just let us know what's going on. So wanted to get out of that world. And you mentioned this. value. What are we getting for the haircut that we're taking? And I started asking myself, I said, well, I did $400,000 this year. There's $120,000 with a 30% haircut, $120,000 of production there. What am I getting for that? Okay, well, let's figure this out. Okay, I get InvestNet, I get my little thing. Okay, I got that. So that's a cost there. I get compliance. Is that $120,000 worth of value there? Okay, I get a broker dealer. Is that $120,000 worth of value? When I went to RIA and I figured out, oh, I can get this, this, and this, and have a lot of money left over. It's a no-brainer. So figure out. That's the first thing. Figure out, what are you paying for? Are you getting the value that you're receiving? And if you're not, I think it's time to have that conversation for sure.
And what tools you're using, man. You point that out, right? You mentioned InvestNet, right? That's nothing to do with any independent broker dealer. Guess what? Anybody can use InvestNet. Everybody can use it, right? Yeah. So where they get you also, where I've noticed is, and I didn't, and you can tell me, but you're probably the same, right? Is they give you better payouts if you use their internal platform, right? Yeah. You use this, you get a better payout. You use that, you get a payout, because they want to keep you captive. Now, in their defense, right? If you're with them and you use that platform, the numbers do work out better, right? They're not great, they do work out better. But if you've decided that their platform is not the best, right? You don't want to be constrained. You're using these outside platforms, then you're literally almost paying them for nothing, right? Because you have your InvestNet fees and everything already come out before your haircut and stuff like that. So it's like, what tool, like number two, what are the tools that you want? If you're using a CRM, if you're using Redtail, you're using whomever, brother, everybody can use those, right? Yeah. And you start getting that tech stack together. You can use that wherever, and that's where the numbers really start to hit home. But tell me, Kev, like, on when you talked about the compliance side, right, about all the different stuff, did you find when you went RIA, did you have to give up certain things that you were doing that you like to do, or did you get more focused, or do you do the same exact, like how did your actual practice change upon the carve out due to now this newfound compliance burden?
I've opened up my I guess the sphere, so to speak. I now have the ability to just produce content, to do a blog, because the reality is this, Steve, we're not gonna say anything stupid, right? We're not gonna say, oh, and you and I've been on Instagram, and you've all seen these guys come out there and they palaver, oh, you can do this with these banks and all this. I'm like, wow, how are they getting away with this stuff? Oh, yeah. Well, this says they're not licensed, right? It says on it that we're not a licensed representative. But for us, we would never say those kind of things because we're not stupid. So there's never anything I'm going to say that is out of line. That's a guarantee. So when I go and produce this content, I'm not an idiot. I'm not going to sit here and say, you can get 8% in this, so and so, and this, and this, call me. No, I'm never going to say that. I'm going to talk about economic things like economics, chain, CPI, things like that. And I may talk about some things that I've gone through, but I'm never going to participate in the Instagram life where people are saying, you can do this and just call me. That's just insane, man.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's crazy. And you're right. And so, but if you do want to, let's say whatever your however you want to market yourself, right? However you want to talk about the business, right? If you don't want to you want to do this content and this canned content that you're like, hey, listen, I'm not sure if I'm unsure, right? I feel these people are providing some kind of value, the compliance department. So I'm not sure what I'm going to say. Let me see if I can get some somewhat canned topics or script. Guess what? It's all the same stuff.
All the same stuff.
They are giving it all to us as RIAs as they are over there, right? So there's no limit. And even if you're concerned about saying something maybe, improperly, it's all there, right? Go to these companies. They are coming to us. And here's the big one, man. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
Remember all those discounts on vendors and stuff when we were with our broker dealer? It's cheaper on this side.
So, well, let's get there for a second. So let's start with number two. Like, we talk about the cost. They say, oh, well, Kevin, you don't know the true cost of ownership and all this other stuff. Well, okay. I was doing all my things while I was there. And I started saying, well, I'm paying for all this stuff myself. So why do I need you guys? So one thing I'll say is this: true cost. So I found out that not only can I lower my clients' fees, by having them on my RIA platform, but I could also take in more revenue because I no longer get the haircuts moving forward. And of course, I can get a little bit of that compensation as well. So let's just say hypothetically, if the InvestNet fee was 0.24 on top of my fee of 1%. Well, okay. So it's a 1.24% all-in fee. I can bring all that down to straight 1.10%, 1.15, and have it all come to me. My client gets a cheaper platform. I get more coming in from a revenue standpoint. I can provide more things for my client. For example, and I don't want to get into technicals, but we're doing tax planning through a Holistic Plan. We're doing wealth.com. We're doing estate planning through wealth.com. We're offering all these different things we could not offer because you know why? Because there was no backroom deal done by the agency to get those people on board. Just don't get it twisted. The only reason why you don't have access to these vendors is because they haven't done a deal yet. It's not about
Got it. They haven't paid the broker dealer, right? They haven't paid to play.
Exactly. And we call ourselves fiduciaries. Wait, Steve, we're supposed to be fiduciaries, man, right? But I know. We're supposed to be fiduciaries, best interest of our clients, but ultimately we don't have access to all the tools and services to be the best interest of our clients, but we call ourselves fiduciaries. That's one thing I just can't live with, by the way, but I know I'm getting amped over here, man, but that's
I love it because you're a great guy, right? We're wanting to do better by clients. I just want to reiterate, man, what you said, because this was the thing that as I was kind of figuring out, right? Listen, we all learn and we go through the process where the broker dealer, you got to do your own due diligence, but your client will pay less and you make more in this model, right? And people, it seems counterintuitive, but it is so simple, simply because, like you said, all the back end deals, number one, even the deals that they do have are bad deals, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, Kevin, I've always used a third party, a TAMP, right? An outsourced.
Oh, yeah.
And my broker dealer, and this was the one that used to just offend
the
me.
cost, but I mean, the costs are just outrageous, man.
No, Kevin, listen to this, dude. Listen to this, man. My TAMP had its platform fee, right?
Yes.
And I had my fee, right? So I was doing my due diligence, figuring out my fee. And I'm like, I would go to my TAMP, I would see their fee, and I would come to see, what the client was paying and stuff like that on their fee. And I'm like, what they're publishing and what I'm like, what's happening? There's a disconnect here. You guys are charging the TAMP. I said, you're charging more than what you guys are saying you should be charging. And they said, oh yeah, are you with blah, 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 broker dealer? Yeah. Oh, they throw 5 basis points on top. Solely a tax. There's no value. This doesn't go through my grid. This goes directly to them. I don't get any credit or anything for this. And I'm like, are you effing? These are the deals that they do. It's all about them.
Yeah. And that's why when I got my CFP and I wanted to be able to provide these types of things. And when I see all that stuff in the back, and I'm like, man, I want to do what's right for my clients. And if that's the CFP moniker, right? The CFP at the Code of Ethics, best interest of clients, that's what you do. Then I don't understand how it doesn't start to flow towards the RIA independent space. Because if I truly feel that way and I want to be that person, I would have to do this. I mean, because I'm stuck in a world where I'm working for a company versus working for the client, and that's just the world I just can't live in.
Yeah, Kevin, let's go to number 3, man. A different topic here. So one of the funny things that I would always say, like I told you, I'm kind of a career changer, right? I didn't get back into this business after I practiced law for a number of years. I started really seriously working in this around 2014, 2015, right? And as I was going through it, I would tell people, I would joke, I said, I'm very lucky that I'm starting this business with 0 AUM and I have 0 legacy clients, right? So I had no trails. So I had the ability to make the choice that I just started fee-based from the start. It's not the easiest, right? But as you know, as you get through this, most people in these seats, they're like, well, I have X amount of trails, right? And their trails justifies them not moving. For me, it was a no-brainer because I had no trails. I'm sure you had some trails, right? You were walking away from it. How did you address that? Did you take the opportunity to move it over to fee-based, or how did you address that issue of, we understand it's bad deals, they're charging us a lot, but trails that may or may not have been real money to you. How did you address those to move over?
Well, so I started transitioning my business about 5 years ago. The agency started doing some mergers and stuff, and I started seeing the writing on the wall. So I started transitioning my business all to fee based a long time ago. In preparation for this day, right? So fortunately, a lot of my stuff was in fees, but there is an insurance block of business that was in, the commission trails and things like that. And then there was a lot of variable annuities and stuff like that, which again, I've totally soured on, by the way. I'm not a big VA guy anymore. It's a long conversation, but anyway. So
no. I was with you. Quick side note: I use a fee base for certain limited purposes, and they're pretty good. They use it, but once again, like anything, it's not the solution; it's the advice. But I'll tell people real quick on that: the variable annuity world, fee-based variable annuity world, it is so much better. It is so much cleaner. It is so much more transparent. If you want to continue to do this, it's better on this side as well.
Oh my God! I did not know that there was an advisory annuity where a client gets no surrender fees. Are you kidding? I was like, you mean I don't have to charge the client 7% or 6% up front and they have to get a surrender? That kind of stuff is mind boggling to me. But anyways, back to your question. I feel that the industry in itself, it's from the trails perspective, I got rid of that a long time ago. Commissions, I've gotten rid of that a long time ago. The insurance base was immaterial to me, quite frankly. It was like $12,000 to $13,000 a year, and then the hamster wheel we got to be on for the commission stuff. So I was trying to actually go to fee only moving forward, but I could not because I was still receiving trails on some insurance business. But what I did do, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, the annuity block of business that I had. Mm-hmm. We actually moved it over to another place called DPL, and DPL is now the servicing advisor on it. And I can still receive compensation based as an investment advisor underneath, like a third party investment advisor. So it's pretty good. It worked out. It worked out really well.
Interesting. And those are historical commission based annuities that the surrender wasn't worth it, but now DPL is the agent and you just charge an advisory fee.
Not even that. No, okay. DPL is the agent and I am receiving. So they pay me as the third party investment advisor that manages the money in the contract. So
interesting.
So whatever gets paid, I get my cut based on that. So I'm no longer a FINRA representative, quote unquote. I still have my FINRA licenses, which are on the MQR platform. And that's something we could talk about. If you're going RIA, you don't want to be with FINRA, you can put your licenses for 5 years on the maintaining a requirement or qualifications requirement, MQR, FINRA thing, and they'll hold your licenses for 5 years as long as you do your CEs. But I'm holding my licenses there, and again, I'm trying to get out of the FINRA world because I just think that they're kind of still in my business. I don't like.
Let's talk about that. I love to talk about that, man, because I was talking about this just yesterday. Believe this or not, right? My whole path. I have taken the Series 7 twice and dropped it twice. That's what my career path has been, right? And so that's really, I think this is a great topic, right? And the compliance and really where the tire hits the road is that and when everything is more difficult compliance wise with your broker dealer and everywhere, and I get it. It's because of FINRA, right? They have to do it that way. I get it. That's the nature of the beast. When FINRA is gone, 90% of that goes away, right? You want to know what the SEC cares about? The SEC cares about that. Are you receiving in fees what you say you're receiving in fees, right? Is that clear? And are you doing what you say you're doing? Yes. If you meet those two levels, dude, you're good. And then, like you say, don't say anything stupid in your marketing. Don't be dumb, right? It's that easy. So I am completely. I have no FINRA involvement in my world at all, right? Like I said, I let it drop twice. So you're still. I hear you. Let me ask you, man. MQ, whatever it is, still out there. You're thinking like, is that like just in case? Maybe I don't know, or what's the strategy there?
No, I mean, if you can hold it for 5 years, you can hold it for 5 years. I mean, just let it sit there and see what happens. I have a 24. I have all those different licenses. Like you never know what you may need when you may need it. You never know if there's an opportunity that someone says, "Hey, I saw you have a 24. I would love for you to do XYZ for my company." You never know, right? So
okay,
just having it out there, just and then I'll drop it when it's necessary. But yeah, you're right. FINRA, and you've said it again, like those companies only care about one thing. They say they care about clients, advisor, and then it's them. Well, ultimately the company only cares about company first, client second, then the advisor. The advisor is the last person they care about. So if I knew that's the way the totem pole worked, I would not. I mean, again, I won't go back to a company is what I'm saying. I don't want to go back to a company. Yeah. I don't see myself ever going back to that.
Yeah, no, and I hear you, man. I hear you. Just in case, it's not a bad idea. And listen, for those that are unsure, if you make the move, if you ever want to you don't have to be like me, right? It's a different choice. I let mine drop. I said, F it, dude. I'm done. I'm out of this. I'm not going back to this again. I've been through it a couple times. You're saying, I totally hear you, man. Hey, let me hold it if I can. Why not? So if someone's going to make that move, if you can, why not? Leave it over there. You don't know, and everything goes through it. So I think, as we prep for this, I think one of the big things you said, one of the big concerns you have, even to this day, right, is and I think it was me too, is fear of the unknown, right? Yeah. Oh my gosh, the big bag regulator, they're going to come in and they're going to slap me on the wrist, right? We read all these reports about all the big companies that are getting fined and all this different stuff, and then they're just going to slap me on the wrist. I think we discussed, right? You have not been audited yet, right?
No, I've only been in for about 9 months, right? So some people don't get audited for 2-3 years. Some people don't get audited for 10 years or whatever. But my goal is just to make sure you note everything you do. I don't care if you call a client and say, just to say hi, you noted it, whatever it is, just note, and make sure you're doing everything above board. If you have any questions about your marketing material, you can always send it up to your compliance, quote unquote, your compliance software team or whatever you're using and say, hey, what do you think about this? Is that too far? And they can say, no, it's fine. Just put this disclosure on it and you should be good. So that's what I do. If I ever have any questions, I'll just send it over to them, see what they think, and they'll get it back to me in a couple of days. But the beauty about this is that you're your own boss. I mean, if you like, we're like I said, we're not idiots. So like, we have marketing like this. We put it out there. We'll say, hey, we didn't say anything stupid on this podcast. Let's put it out there. Who cares? Nobody's going to say anything.
We're not going to say anything crazy. And your compliance company, just a flat fee, right? A retainer, or as you need them. How do you pay them?
It's just a monthly flat fee. So I mean, I use RIA in a box right now. Now, again, not saying that's going to be the company I'm going to use for the entire time. Cause they're like the Walmart in regards to just the compliance thing, but I will get more technical as I grow, because my mentor, we can get to this. My mentor always says that as you grow, you're probably going to grow out of them and then go to something different moving forward. But she says she started with them, but she just grew out of it. So I'll probably do the same.
All right. So I'll talk, and you're Texas, right? You're not SEC yet?
Not SEC yet, no.
Okay. All right. I got a great woman for you. My compliance consultant actually is in Texas.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She's in Houston. She's amazing. She's awesome. Dude, you're gonna love her. You're gonna love her.
Synergy. I love synergies, my friend.
She's gonna meet your personality. But so I will to go with them on the compliance side. So I've been audited, right? I'm still Florida, about to go SEC, and like you, it really got to me. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen, right? I don't know what they're gonna ask. I don't know what's gonna be like. Okay, so they come in, right? You get a letter. They request a gajillion things, right? So let me tell people this just in general, and probably I'm more comfortable because I'm an attorney. I've dealt with this, and with government agencies and all the like.
I will leave it to you. I'm not gonna say anything.
Yeah, no. But understand that these people, these agencies, I mean, they're not freaking robots, man. They are not coming trying to make your life, heck. They're just doing their job, right? This is what they do. That's what they've been asked to do. So they've come and they ask for a gajillion documents in 30 days, right? I'm like, dude, no effing way. Right. Yeah. So you just call them. Hey, listen. And this is what they want, right? I've dealt with all kinds of, just be proactive. You call them back. Hey guys, listen, I got your letter. Thank you. And I'm gonna get this to you, but I just need more time. And they'll say, how long do you need? Right. And you'll get to say 2 weeks. Okay. And so you keep updating them along the process, right? They just want to know that you received the letter, you're taking it serious, and that you are somewhat organized enough that you can respond to them. If you get a letter and you don't respond to like day 29 and you ask for that looks bad. It looks like you're unorganized. You don't know what you're doing, because there are plenty of those out there that are like that, right? Yeah. So when dealing with those regulators, number one, be proactive. They are people. They are not robots. Just be proactive and let them know you're working on it and you're going through it, right? So then you start getting all the documents, right? You got to go to your custodian. Hey, listen, I need a gajillion files for a gajillion statements, all this different stuff. And you start putting that together. Then they ask you, hey, just send us all your client contracts, right? Send us all your agreements, right? And they're going to do some spot checking, which you should be doing already. Like, hey, listen, are the fees correct? Right?
Yeah.
Whoever you use, right, Kevin? I use a TAMP. I spot check with them. Sounds like you may or may not still use Investnet, whatever it is.
I use Schwab. I'm a Schwab guy, and I use Black Diamond, by the way.
Black Diamond. Okay, so Black Diamond's pretty good. So maybe ask Black Diamond, dude. Black Diamond people, all these people, they love having you as clients, right? They're they work for you, not you them. It's not the actual like a broker dealer that they're doing you a favor. No, Black Diamond wants your business. Hey guys, give me some spot checked accounts, give me some fees, all this different stuff, right? So it is a lot of information, but they're just looking to see, did you cross your T's, did you dot your I's? Yeah. And when you show that to them and you give it to them and you're proactive, and when you have your interview, you're very open with them, it's not an issue. Now, I will tell you the biggest thing out there, maybe Kevin, you know this too, they're all about cybersecurity, dude. All about it. Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Blah, 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 blah. So just have your cybersecurity game in check, right? Everything's multi-factor authentication, passwords on your computers, different stuff like that, right? Because that's what they want to know, because that's what the breaches happen, right? When you read the big news, that's where everybody's getting fined, right? These big data breaches. We don't have that. We can rely on vendors, now we have to review their contracts, right? Stuff like that. But we can rely on the vendors. So that makes our life so much easier. See, understand once again, also with an independent broker dealer, they're outsourcing these contracts. So you got to deal with the independent broker dealer system, and then they're dealing with the vendor system. And sometimes you have to deal with, so it's like a go-between that potentially just creates more problems and more things that go wrong. But when you're dealing with them directly, right? You go with Schwab, you go with these vendors, it makes your life, a lot easier. And upon audit, you're just giving them this information. And like I said, if you're doing what you're saying you're doing, you're charging what you're saying you're charging, it's no issue.
No issues, man. And that's what they're going to use as a scare tactic for when you decide to move out. They're going to say, well, you're not ready for this. And that still was my concern, because as I was moving, you only know what you know, but you don't know what you don't know. So I just get yourself a mentor first and foremost. That's what I would do. I mean, that's just me 100%. I got Helen Stevens of Aspen Wealth Management. She's phenomenal. She walked me through step by step on what to expect, and get someone that's been in that's done this before. And you can call us, right? You can even call us and we can walk you through it. But yeah, definitely. That was my main concern, is what am I missing? Am I missing something? And that I don't want, and I still feel like, man, they're going to come in my office. I'm going to give them everything they want. They'll be like, oh, you didn't do this. I'm like, damn it. But I think I'm doing pretty good.
They're not, man. They're not. And to that point, the mentor, I went to people that I knew were, because I knew I was going to be Florida right away, and I went to someone and I said, have you been audited? Yes. Can you send me the letter that they sent you right upon the audit? And so they redacted some information and they sent it to me. Dude, it was verbatim, the same exact letter I got.
Really?
It's a form. Yeah. Okay. So if you're worried about being, say, Texas audited, go to another Texas RIA, say, hey, listen, would you mind providing me that letter and prep that? Dude, it was verbatim. I mean, they're very rote, right? This is how they do it. This is how their technique is, right? They're just trying to show that they did their job and they did everything that's neat. And the more you provide the information to them, the more you are forthright, dude, they're going to like you. And they're going to be happy. And of course, they got to find, you should see my result. It was some crazy stuff, but whatever. They have to find some stuff wrong. They have to be ready for that, right? They have to find some stuff wrong. But they want you, if you make their life easier, these are bureaucrats, dude. They're bureaucrats. If you can make their life as easy as possible, they're going to like you. They're going to find the stuff wrong that they have to find wrong, right? And then they're going to move on. And that's the way you address that. And it's no issue. It's no issue, and it's no surprise. When you have your interview, the one thing that was funny, I heard because of COVID and everything, they're like, hey, are you comfortable with us coming into the office? Nope. We're doing the Zoom, right? So I never even saw them in person, right? Because that could be a tactic as well, where they intimidate you in person,
Yeah. Well, that's a smart move. Smart move, my friend.
Yeah, so you learn those things. So Kevin, here we are. I mean, I think this conversation's been great. I really hope people have found this beneficial and everything. What are your thoughts? Some last, I mean, I like this for those that are on the fence, right? Thinking about this to get them. Listen, there's a lot of people, you know, let me say this, and then you can say your thoughts is, I think going RIA is not for everybody. It absolutely is not for everybody, right? If you want to be an advice focused business and not just the fancy product of the day, right? You create your portfolios and stuff like that. You want to keep kind of the back end simple. You lead with advice. You want to structure. You want to take care of your marketing. By all means, you should make this leap. You should come over. It is better. It's more cost effective and everything. If you feel your value is by bringing the latest, greatest investment product, structured notes, variable annuities, and if you look at your book and that's what it is, and you listen, if you're happy with that, if you like bringing your value that way, do not go RIA. It will be a nightmare, right? You'll have to update your ADV every time you offer a different product. I would say not do that. But the latter, right? If you want to keep it simple, you like your marketing, that's how you want to lead. You want to truly be your own business. You want the numbers to hum. This is really the only way to go. Because honestly, let me tell you, being acquired by that's a whole other podcast. Being acquired by the larger RIAs, I've had those conversations. Their numbers they're going to offer you are freaking awful. They are no different than Morgan Stanley and Merrill Lynch. It is. So don't even waste your time there, right? Maybe you're at a different stage in your life and stuff like that. So if this is the route to go, best business, it's to go RIA. What would you say, man? What would you give the word of advice to those really close?
One thing I would say is look at your numbers, right? If the numbers aren't making sense, like if you're paying out 30, 40, 50% in overrides, and you're saying, what's the value that you're receiving from that? I would literally just do a spreadsheet and said, okay, is this worth what I'm paying? And if it's not, that's step one. Step two, ask yourself, are you able to provide the value that your clients deserve? The issue is sometimes you may not even know that the value even exists. For example, whether it be tax planning, estate planning, or whatever, comprehensive financial planning, subscription models, whatever it is. If you're consistently being hit with no from your broker dealer or whatever, then it may be time to say, you know what, let's have a conversation about changing. And finally, you can come into this business as a business owner or as a support system inside of a business, right? In an RIA model. You don't have to be a business owner. So depending on where you want to fit in there, have a conversation with that person you're wanting to join about compensation and structure and things like that. But just kind of figure out where you're fitting in regards to the overall model. If you're wanting to get off of that hamster wheel, whether you're in an insurance-based office or a wirehouse or whatever, it's time to make a change, because I will tell you this, knowing what you're going to make January 1st and knowing that you can create a more income off of that is a beautiful thing versus having to say, oh, I have to do this just to keep a contract, or I have to do this because my boss is going to get angry at me. It's very fruitful. I think going to an RIA is a very fruitful experience. I still have some struggles in regards to, what else is out there. And thank you for that, Steve, for that information.
Well, community, man, Kevin, everything you're saying is, I couldn't agree more. We're a community, man. Like we reach out, talk to each other. Now we have a relationship. Hey, Steve, I'm having this issue. What do you think? And we go back and forth, and I'll tell you, if you create that community, everything is out there. You may not know about it, right? Because it's more fractured, but just create that community of other RIAs.
Yeah, and the community is valuable because you don't have the same community in that broker dealer space, because guess what? Well, I was just talking to my guy Steve, and they're doing this great stuff over there at his firm. Oh, we can't do that. We don't have access to that. Okay, so there's really no community there. But yeah, the community is vast. The community is huge. Technology is vast. You'll have the open arc to do whatever you want. I love it. I love it. I won't ever turn back.
Awesome. Couldn't agree more. Awesome. Kevin, really enjoyed this, my friend.
Thank you, man. Thank you for providing the value, because this is valuable conversation, because again, people need to make that decision. And I know one thing that they're feeling is anxiety. Anxiety is out there. That's everybody. I lost 30 pounds in my move, man. I tell you, I was pacing, because you don't know the question you have to ask you, like, do you know, like, are these people going to come over? Oh, and one thing we didn't discuss, Steve, is the move in regards to the I guess the law side of it, whether it be look at your contracts.
Yeah.
Like what kind of, do you have a non-solicit, non-compete? You got to look at that before you make these moves, because it's very important, because people will ultimately say, hey, well, that client, because when money starts to move, they're going to say that client wasn't yours. This client wasn't yours. So make sure you look at your contract language.
That's a good idea for another conversation, man. I like that. Look at you setting us up, man. I like
All
it.
right, brother.
Yeah. All right. And I'll tell you, yeah, the anxiety, right? Anxiety is fear of the unknown. Unfortunately, it's not going to be known until you do it. It'll always be there, right? And so it's kind of like, which side do you want to, be on in that? But this is awesome. So thanks,
Appreciate
brother.
you, brother. Thank you so much, man. Happy Friday.